Okay, we're in the middle of a sugya. We're in the middle of a sugya. We of shchiv meirah. So just to reiterate, a shchiv meirah who gives away all of his property and dies, of course, it goes to the person he gave it to. If he gets better, then it's an umdina de mukach that the only reason he gave it away was because he thought he was dying, and therefore he gets it back. What happens if he gives away part of his property? So we said that then it's a good sale because since he kept something for himself, obviously he thinks he's going to live. We added yesterday a Kanech that if he added the fact, even if he gives away part of the property, but he mentions that he's giving it away because he thinks he's going to die, then everyone would be minded that he'd get it back if he gets better. If he verbalized the fact that he's giving it away because he died, if he gets it, even if he only gives away part of it, whatever he gave, we get back. We had a machlokes yesterday between Rav and Shmuel where shchiv meirah unnecessarily made a kinyan. We said divrei shchiv meirah is kiksuvim chsurim dami. Since he's giving away everything, so what? It's unnecessary to make a kinyan. What happens if he makes a kinyan? Says Rav, he's riding two horses. In other words, what he's doing is he's making it not only the star of a shchiv meirah, but the shtar of a bari. Meaning, since he made a kinyan, if he gets better, he doesn't get it back. It's like a shchiv meirah. If there's a milva al peh, he can go ahead and give it to somebody else, which normally by the matana of a healthy person, you can't. That was Rav. So Rav said the fact that he made a kinyan after he already said gave it to who he gave it to is not making it worse. In fact, it's enhancing it, making it the best of both worlds. Said Shmuel, no, I'm scared that when he went ahead and made a kinyan, that he wants that to override. He wants that to override what? His shtar. He wants it to override, his amira. He wants it to override that, and therefore, if he gets better, he gets it back. In other words, the whole thing is off. The person that he gave it to gets nothing. Even if he dies, he gets nothing. Right? He wouldn't get it. Right? Even if he wouldn't get it because he went back on it. Right? Is that what he said? Yeah. Okay. What about we then went and said, what happens if a person goes ahead? He gives a get, he writes a shtar, right? And he gives it to somebody. He writes a shtar and he gave it to somebody. Notice he didn't make a kinyan, he just gave the person the shtar as a raya. That's called being mizaka. So normally, if you have a daitaki, which is the shtar of a shchiv meirah, and then you give it to Harry, and then you go ahead, I want Fred to have it, Fred gets it. That's the way we bought like Shmuel. What happens if you go ahead and you're mizaka? In other words, you give it to Harry, and then you go ahead and give it to Fred. Says Rav, Harry still gets it. The first one gets it. Says Shmuel, the second one gets it. So Shmuel has the din. Harry says it's din of since you were mizaka, you gave him the shtar, right? You gave it to him. It stays by Harry, and Shmuel said it goes to Fred. It goes like the words of Shiv Meirah. So that's what we said. Now we're going to have a case over here. What happens if a person did both? So we know that machlokes by when you made a kinyan and machlokes where you mizaka. What happens if you do both? That's where we're holding now on kuf nun beis amid beis. Kuf nun beis amid beis. Besura masnahachi. In surah, this is the way they learned. And this machlokes, what it's going on, the Rashbam says it's going on the last case we had. The case, the machlokes Rav and Shmuel, if you mizaka, you give the shtar to one person, then you revert and give it to another person. The Pumbedisa Masni Hachi. In Pumbedisa, they applied the machlokes Rav and Shmuel to what? To the following case. So, Amar Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Sholchu le'mi bei Rav l'Shmuel. They sent from the yeshiva of Rav to Shmuel. Right? I guess Rav had been nifter. Yilmadenu Rabbeinu, let Shmuel teach us. Shchiv meirah. Shekosav kol nechasav, and I'm going to add the words v'zika, and he gave him the shtar, and then he went ahead la'acherim, and then he gave it to somebody else. That's the way the Rashbam learns. So notice this is case number 2 that we just said. Now the economy other, we make it a hybrid, fellas. What did he do? He did again. Let's stick with Shmuel. According to Shmuel, if you made a kinyan. So the divrei shchiv meirah is off, and maybe you're going back on the deal. According to Rav, you're playing both sides. Zika, Rav says the first guy gets it. Shmuel says the second one gets it. What about now? You added a kinyan. In other words, you just combined the two cases. You combined case number 1 and case number 2. where the Shchimera, not only did he go ahead and make a kinyan, but he gave the shtar as well as a raya. So that's the case over here. So Shchimera shekasu kol nechasel v'acherim, v'konim yadu, mahu, what's the din? So sholchuluhu, ein acher kinyan klum. This ein acher kinyan klum, in other words, there's nothing to talk about. Ein acher kinyan klum, there's nothing whatsoever to talk about, and therefore it would stay by the first one. It would stay by the first one. Let's see the Rashbam, guys. Towards the end of the Rashbam, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines up. It's going on the case we just spoke about, where you mezakeh by giving the shtar to the individual. The pligi Rabu Shmuel b'ksav the kosav v'sikol is there, and when you're other person. V'chein perish rach. The surah masnehachi. That's the way they learned in surah. That the machloikas Rav says the first one gets it, and Shmuel says the second one gets it. The plukta Rabu Shmuel the kosav v'sikol is there kedamrona. However, b'disa. This is what we're our Gemara now. The Pumbedisa Masni Sholchami Be Rav Shmuel Yumedin Rabbeinu Kosav, and now the Rashbam puts some words that the Gemara doesn't say, guys. The Zika Lerisha, and it doesn't say that, and he gave the person the shtar, right? It doesn't say that in the Gemara. I added that thing, right? The Zika Lerisha, the economy yadai. So you made a hybrid. You went ahead. Not only did you give him the shtar, but you made a kinyan as well. My Sholchalahu Kimich Zika Loi. The kanamine kana, then yachalachsa b'matnasai, and you can't go ahead and be chayser the matana. In other words, if you get better, you're not getting it back. The kolshkin lahak noisei laacher, and certainly to give it over to somebody else. Bein oimnim bezeh shemaloi gomer lahak noisei b'shtar, and Shmuel would not say that maybe he changed his mind when he made the kinyan. Why? The hazika loy, because he gave it to him. The economy yadai, and he made a kinyan. Even the kule high ovid, since he did so much, it's only what the purpose of being yapa. So this is in the Shita Shmuel, guys. Right? This is Shmuel Shita. Shmuel says by kinyan, deals off. Shmuel says by zika, second one gets it. However, if you put the two together, the first one gets it, and it's irrevocable or irrevocable. Right? It works, right? It's irrevocable. Yeah, from Brooklyn. Anyway, but you guys, you hear Shmuel. This day is Shmuel the question. So Shmuel held by kinyan off. Shmuel held by zika number 2. Shmuel says, but both number 1. A person won't go so far to go ahead on and double. Okay, that's the so that's pshat. So that's an ein acha kinyan klum. After you make a kinyan and belid, and you gave over the shtar, you mezaka, there's nothing else to talk about. You can't go ahead. You die. Again, it's going to stay by number 1. You get better. You don't get it back. That's it. Now, savamina mine hani mili la'acha. That's if you give to somebody else. If you get better, it stays by somebody else. Avole atzmai, but to revert to the nosin of the matana, amaluhu loy. Meaning, let's say the Shchimera get better, despite the fact that he made a kinyan, despite the fact that he was mezakeh, fellas, despite the fact he did both. I'll say that what? I'll say that it goes back to number atzmai to himself. Maybe Shmuel said his din only regarding if he gave it to somebody else. What happens that it doesn't go back to him? What happens? He made a kinyan, and what about going back to himself? It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. That's it. It's gone. Forget about it. Okay, that's good. So again, we're going to chazer in a second. I made the chart. We're going to chazer in a second. Rashbam. So right now, Shmuel again. Shmuel the halachas like Shmuel. Shmuel says what? Shmuel says that if you go ahead and make a kinyan and you mizaka, that's it, done. Ahu the kanamine. Okay, what's right? He made a kinyan, vizika, and he also went ahead. What? He made a kinyan, and he was mizaka. So now this is the case we just discussed. He did both things. Asla kamed Rav Huna, and he got better, and he wanted it back. Ama maya avilcha. What can I do for you? Doi aknis kidemakne inchi. You weren't makne like what? Like a normal person. Right. Since you weren't makne like a normal shchimei because you made a kinyan and you mizaka, I can't help you. You lost it. In other words, a maisa of what it was. Okay. So if you look, I sent out a chart. I sent out. Everyone should get it. And this will be a chazara of what we've been discussing till now. This will be a chazara. Now, Shchiv Meirah, only I can make a chart in Hebrew from left to right. That makes no sense, right? You talk about to the person. I started making whatever. Anyway, Shchiv Meirah, they get call the chosav v'lo shayar la'atzmai, guys. He doesn't leave over anything. V'lo yizika es a star, avol kosev b'kinyan. But he made a kinyan. So this is Amid Aleph of yesterday's daf, the Machlokes Rav and Shmuel, right? So in other words, there was not only the kinyan. So this is where Rav said what? You're playing both sides of the fence, and Shmuel said that what? Shmuel said there's nothing to talk about. It's a suffix. I don't know how to paskin. Even if the noisein dies, the makabel doesn't get it back. Because maybe he changed his mind and he wanted to be makda b'shtar and ain't shtar lachamisa. Fellas, okay? That's Shmuel. Says Shmuel, if you make a kinyan, I think that kinyan, we have to take into account. It may go ahead and cancel out your amira. It may cancel out your amira. So when's it going to be chal? If the misa, ain't shtar lachamisa, and therefore the makabel matana doesn't get it. That's case number one. Case number two, where Shmuel says you miyap es kocho shekosav, you write in the star the konina minei moisef al matnasa da. You write in the star that you want to be miyap his kocho. So if the noisein dies, the makabel keeps it. If the noisein recovers, the noisein gets it back. This is Shmuel's psak. So if the noisein is miyap kocho, what's miyap kocho? That if he dies, the makabel keeps it, and if the noisein recovers, the noisein gets it back. So miyapes koichai, even if he wrote a kinyan, guys, even if he wrote a kinyan, Shmuel would say over here it's a good matana. Number three, shchibei rasha kosev v'zikah la'adam sheni. This is the case of yesterday. This is what you guys. This is you kosev v'zikah l'zeh. Then this is Shmuel. It goes to number two. It's a shchibei ra. If the noisein dies, the second one gets it. If the noisein recovers, the noisein gets it back. In other words, number three, guys, is a classic shchibei ra. It's a regular shchibei ra. And you mizaka tobar the second person. The first person's out. The second one's in. If the noisein dies, he gets it. The noisein recovers, he gets it back. Like matan v'shchemera. And finally, our case over here, where he did three things. He said it. He wrote a shtar about his words. He gave it over to the guy, and he made a kinyan. And then what? He went and gave it to another person. The first guy gets it, right? He would not go to such length. For the night, right? He wouldn't go to so lengths to do so much, and therefore he wanted to enhance the koyach of the noisein. And even if he recovers, the first guy keeps it, and that's the Rashbam. This is all I got from Rashbam, a long Rashbam who summarizes the different shittas of Shmuel that we just accounted. Okay, it's very good. It's very good. Yeah, you go through a sugya a little bit. We should know a little bit about it. Okay, some more. Okay. Ahi matnasa, there was this matana. That because of it was written in the matana, I'm giving to you b'chaim uv'maves. Rav Amar, Hari Kamatnas Shchimera, since he mentioned Maves, right? He wants like Matnas Shchimera. Ushmul Amar, Hari Kamatnas Bari, since he said Chaim. Rav Amar, Hari Kamatnas Shchimera, Midechsiv Bob Maves, Achamisa Kamalei, Vahaidiksiv Bechayim, and that he mentioned Bechayim, Simin Ba'alma, right? He was just going to get one, and he was saying a Simin Ba'alma. Look at Rashbam. The first medium line. It was a case of mixas. Shekoseba kinyan, the koinel divyakol, bein amad bein lo yamad. So this is speaking about a mixas, and according to that, the kinyan works. It works. Now, according to Shmuel, according to Rav, Rav says it's like a matan of a shchimera, correct? So why b'mixas? I thought mixas is not a matan of shchimera, guys. Right? It's not a matan of shchimera, fellas. Guys, let's go back. Matnas Chimera is only if you're not Messiah or anything, correct? If you Messiah something, then what? If you Messiah something, then it's not Matnas Chimera, correct? So look at the Rashbam. Matnas Chimera b'miktsas. It's a miktsas. Shekosev bo kinyan. V'koina l'divrei. Everyone would say Yekoina. Bein Amar Bein Loma. 1 second. What do you mean Yekoina? Why would you be Koina? It's you know, you're not you're how could the person get this back? This person wants it back. So look at the case. The guy said B'chaim Mamaves. Now, what happened? This person wants it back. The person who said Mechaim Mamaves obviously get better, he wants it back. So b'mitzas l'chayra, how can Rav say that what? That it's a matan shchimera? If it's b'mitzas, it should be a matan shchimera. So what's the answer? What happens if he mentioned the words that I want it, only if I die? Remember this. Remember, if you say that mitzvah machmas misa, even if you go ahead and leave a little bit, you're going to get it back. In other words, this is based upon the Magid Mishnah. In Magid Mishnah is found in Perek Chesem Sechiyah Matan Allah Yates. You have to add that if you say b'mitzas, it must be in order to get it back. It must be that you went ahead and said that I'm mitzvah machmas misa. And that we added that kanech. Okay. Anyway, so. Back in the case. So he said, now the question is, what does this Mechaim B'Mavis do? So Rav says he's still a Matnas Shchimera, and Shmuel says no, it's a Matnas Bari. Okay, let's go through it now. Rav says it's a Matnas Shchimera, Midchsiv B'Mavis, Achamisa Kamalei, V'Haidichsiv Mechayim, Simin Ba'alma. He was giving a silim, he's giving a bracha. Like look at the first wide line before we get the last medium wide line. Mechayim Lav Dafka El Simin Toiv. He's mentioned a good simon. If you should since he mentioned death, I'm in a bad state, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu should save me. So the fact that he mentioned Mechayim is lav dafka, that dafka he wants it Mechayim. In other words, it's only after death. Why is he mentioning Mechayim? It should be a simon bracha, right? I shouldn't die from this thing. So he's mentioning Chayim. Not that that it's a matanas bari I'm giving you when I'm alive. It's a matana if what? If I don't make it. And he gives himself a little, I'll pitapel the sutton. Ushmul Amar, Harihi Kemanas Bari. Shmuel says like it's the Matnas Bari. Shmuel says it's the Matnas Bari, Midchsev Ba Bechayim. Right? When it says Bechayim, Mechayim Kamar, he's saying from the time I'm alive. So according to Shmuel, why are you mentioning death? He's saying it's from now and forever. Okay, so again, he says, have this case, says Rav, you can get better, you get it back. Shmuel says, no backsies, gone. Amri Nardoi, Hilchas Lekavasi the Rav. The halach is like Rav. That it's a matnish shchivmeira. Amar Rava. Now, that's if you write Bichayim. But Amar Rava vi Kisiv ba Mechayim, if he says from life until death, then Kana. Rav B'di Moida that it's the Matnas Bari. You guys are here. Bichayim is different than Mechayim from life. So Rava wants a taina that Rav only said is, maybe it could be arguing on Rav, or that the question is, or Rav said it's only done when you said Bichayim, or maybe what? Mechayim. So Amar Meimar, less hilchas agabasei de Rava. I says Meimar Allah is not like Rava. In other words, whether it's Bichayim or Mechayim, it's a Matnas Bari. Shchimera. It's a Matnas Shchimera. Again, whether you said with a beis or with a mem, even though a mem is mashma more like from now, nonetheless it replies to Matnas Shchimera because since he mentioned Maves, it's only after Misa. Good. Now, Amalei Rav Ashi la Meimar Pshita. Amin Adoi hilchas agabasei de Rav. Why do you have to say the halach is like Rav? Rav argues in Rav. Rav said his din. So now the tema mechayim moida Rav. You might think that what? When did Rav say his din, fellas? Bechayim with a base. But maybe mechayim, which is mashma from your life, it's a matnas bari. Kamash malon. No, the halach is like Rav. Even mechayim. How does it come to Rav Nachman l'nadoi? Now. This is fascinating. We're pointing out if Nachman was the man, right? So they came. Now Nardoi fellas was the place of Shmuel. Nardoi was the place of Shmuel. Rav was in Surah, and Shmuel was in Nardoi. First in Pumpatisa, then Nardoi. Now, he came to Rav Nachman and Adoi. Now and what was the case? The case said Mechayim. The person wanted it to be a matnas what? Shchiv Meira. He went like Rav. But you're in the place of Shmuel. What does Shmuel say? What did Rava say? I guess it's the place of Rava. So the Kamed of Yomi Barabba, Lishum Tamya, Amahacha Asur de Shmuel. Right. This is the place of Shmuel. Shmuel says what? It's a matnas it's a matnas bari. So you're going to lose it. Guy, a person came with the following shaila. I have a matana from a shchiv meira. He got better, right? And meaning, if it was mine, it's mine. If it got better, it reverts to him. What did it say in the shtar? Mechayim be'ad oilam, be'ad maves, right? Mechayim be'ad maves. That's what it said. So if you paskin like Shmuel, right? If you paskin it's a matnas bari, and you don't get it back. If you paskin like Rav, it's the matnas shchiv meira, right? And it would stay with the family, right? Good. So now, Rav Nachman sent him to Rav Yomi Barabba to a place called the Shum Tamya. Omar said Rav Nachman to this individual, Hacha Asu de Shmuelhi. Right, his is the place of Shmuel. Hechi Navid Kavasei de Rav. It will be a busha to go ahead and paskin over here like what? Like Rav. There's some famous. We had the Gemara in Yevamis. We said that Beis Shammai Taka went according to his shita, right? About that you didn't need the right. That in the case of the Chamesha Esrei Noshim, right? The Chamesha Esrei Noshim, that you needed to go ahead and what the 15 women that parted the erva, right? We passing like Beis Hillel, but according to Beis Shammai, not according to Beis Shammai. So what Beis Hillel held was what Beis Hillel held was heter. I mean, meaning you were not able to go ahead and there's no yipata. You go ahead and go and was creating mamzerim. So we said that he was and he did according to what he said. So it's not uncommon to go ahead and say, well, over here, I'm pasking. I can't paskin. He's saying like it doesn't pass me to paskin that way, but in a sense, it's the halacha is in that place. The halacha is that way. They say we're famous Maisa fellas. I heard a few different people that it happened to. I heard with the Beis Yosef in the Ramah regarding a certain sircha. There was this individual who came to Rav Chaim Moisa who had a certain machla in his lungs. He must have tuberculosis, and the doctors told him to go to a certain place, and he said to stay over here. I may be saying this wrong, but what the Beis Yosef held was a sircha the Ramah mated. In other words, in that place you would be considered a treifa, and this place, right, you'd be considered what? Okay. So he said, stay over here, because if you go there, you'll be taka treifa. Stay over here and taka live. So you see that again. I maybe get a little events a little incorrect, but the basic idea what I want to go ahead and give over is in that place where a person lives, the halacha is kaveya like that. There's a Tosfos in Yudal and Yevamis that says this. There's Tosfos in Yudal and Malal from Yevamis, small Tosfos that says that the halacha is like that place. No, I think it's different. That's mazel. This is halacha. This is halacha. It's not. This is halacha. This is halacha. It's not mazel. This is halacha. It's halacha. Anyway, there was this woman who came in front of Rava. Again, Rava did like his psak that he said mechayim makes it what? Makes it a matnas bari, and thus withholding from the woman her money, the gift. Havi kotarda, she was driving him crazy. So Amalei Rav Papa, Berei the Rav Chanan Safrei. So Rava said to Rav Papa, the son of Chanan, his cipher. So that was the cipher, and he wanted to get rid of this woman. So what did he say? Right. So what did he say to him? Zil kosev lo, go write for her a shtar that I paskin that she's right. Ukosev, but at the end of the shtar you should write soicher aleim oy miton. Now you might remember we had a perik hasoicher es umnin that let's say the workers in the middle of the day they go ahead and they quit the job. You could do one of two things. You could hire others on their cheshbon, or you can go ahead and trick them and say I'll pay you more, and you don't have to pay him more. So now He added this at the bottom of the star. Now, any dayan is looking at this is going to say, that obviously Rav is alluding to that he's tricking this woman, right? That Rav is alluding to that he's tricking this woman. But this woman had to be a lam donit, because she understood what Rav was doing. So here's what happens. So Va'amra, she understood what Rav was doing. Va'amra litba arbe, that your svina should go ahead and sink. Atuye komatile, and therefore you want to go ahead you want to trick me. Anyway, Amshinu lemone de Rava b'maya. The Talmidim, they went ahead and they heard this. They took Rava's clothing, his cloak, and they put it in water in order that the klala should be on in that. Vafilu hachi loy ifrik mitiva. It didn't help that to mites from the klala, that l'chayra his boat sank. L'chayra his boat sank. Okay, now there's another way to learn over here. Now I could be the total wrong shot, but my son Simcha told me something that made a lot of sense. There's a Gemara in Daf Nun Vav in Brachas. Guys, you can remember this Gemara. There was a person Bar Hedya. He was a person who would interpret dreams, and depending if you gave him money, you see, remember it? He would interpret the dream depending upon if you paid him off. So Abaya paid him off, got a good interpretation. Rava, who had the same dream, who did pay him off. Anyway, finally Rava went ahead, alone to him, and paid him, and he got better interpretations. One day, Bahedja and Rava were going on a boat, and Bahedja he stayed off the boat. He said a nest is going to happen to him. A nest is going to happen to him, right? And the nest is going to happen to him, and therefore it doesn't mean I'm going to be saved. So it's mashal from that Gemara that Rava was on a boat, that Rava was saved. So my son wanted me medayik that this woman was Makal. Yeah, this woman was Makal Rava, not as only as money, Makal Rava, that Rava should die. But look at the lashon over here. Vafilu hachi leifrik mitiva. He was not freed from sinking. It doesn't say dying; it says from sinking, which would be very, very geschmack in the Gemara in the Vav and Brachas, where Nisracha Shlanisa and Rava was saved. So you two still the Gemaras together. If it's going on Rava himself, that would explain that why he doesn't say he died. But okay, anyway, Pashtus, it's going on the boat itself, and there's nothing. There's no Torah there whatsoever. But there might be Torah there. I think I saw someone allude to it. It's brought down in a footnote here in the Vishinana that he's bringing down that Gemara and Daf Nun Vav. So perhaps it's a tzushtel. Okay, says the Mishnah. Now you have the Shchib Meirah, and usually in the star of the Shchib Meirah, they would write the following. They would write that Katzir, you're sick, V'Rami Barise, and you're bedridden. That's where they write in the star. So you would know it's the Shchab Shchib Meirah. So now, Loi Koseh Shchib Meirah, he didn't write it. It wasn't written. Now he got better. The Makabel Matana says, I got it, you were a bari. And he says, I was a Shchib Meirah. He says, as a bari, I keep it. He says, a Shchib Meirah, I'm healthy as anything, and I gave it as a Shchib Meirah, and therefore I should keep it. So, like Koseh Shchib Meirah, who I'm a Shchib Meirah, you see, I was a Shchib Meirah, and therefore it belongs to me. And they say, bari Yisa, you were a bari at the time. Now, who gets it? What would you say? Say, I might see Mechaver love Lehevi Raya. It's Sarach Lehevi Raya Sheshchib Meirah, Div Reb Meir. Reb Meir goes after Tashti, goes after now. Now you're healthy, being a raya that you weren't healthy. In other words, he doesn't say I might say mechaverei. He says it stays by the makabel. It stays by the makabel. You're saying a shchib meirah, being a raya that you were a shchib meirah, being a raya that you were a shchib meirah, because you're going after the hashta. You're going after the mitzias now. Going after the mitzias now. The chachamim ma'imrim, I might say mechaverei, I love a raya. No, it's a classic case. I might say mechaverei. We're going to keep it becheskas marikama, and you want to go ahead and take it. You makabel, prove that he was a bari. So you say this to machloikus again that we know throughout Shas. Hamaitzi mechaveroi. One goes ahead. We're uki memona cheskas mare, and usually we keep it by the person, Over here, says Reb Meir, since we have a chazaka, the hashta, we have a chazaka, the hashta. You're healthy and well. How can you say you were sick? We're going after the chazaka, the hashta, to override the suffix that we should say Hamitzim Chavero. Yes, Rabbi.
The Shkivmira is the one who's trying to be Motzi.
Right? No. He's the chesed Marikama. It doesn't. He got better. I don't think. No, it's muchsik that this was his. In other words, it doesn't mean the person holding it necessarily. It could be that he's saying that everyone knows that it was his gift, or it could be the guy didn't take it yet. It could be the guy didn't take it yet, right? It's not lav dafka that the guy has it. Lav dafka the guy has it. You know, it could like. Okay, now.
Obviously, there's no way to.
Okay, so yeah, so it's good. Yes, what happened? They made one around. The Rambam says the Rambam says in Hilchas Chiyah Matana Cheschav Zayin, Ve'ein Eidim Mitsuyin Kan Shalom. There's no Eidim around. It's a very good point. The Rambam says it, and the Rambam himself in the Chiyah Matana Cheschav Zayin. Okay, now. Hahumat Nasa, Hahumat Nasa, the Havikosev Ba. And there was the Shtar Matana that was written in the Shtar, right? Kad have kotze v'rami barise, when I was sick and lying in bed, v'lekoseva umigoi mare ifta lebeis alami. And as a result, I went to the next world. Now, obviously, this guy is not writing it if he went to the next world. Look at the Rashban. Migu mare iftar kachoy regilim lichtoif matneshche meira hanichtavois la'achem isasan. They would add to the matneshche meira after his demise. Lohidia shenechasim alolu nesunim lezeh hamakabel b'tzavah shchim meira. That they should know that this was given to the makabel, so they would add it. You know, as Bezdin would add it to this shtar. And as I was sick in bed, and when I gave this over, and as a result of the sickness, I went to the next world. Good. Now, when we talk nifter shlei omad bein tayim, I didn't get better v'lei chazaboy. And I didn't change my mind. That's what they would write. So now you have the shtar that says this. Amid Beis. Okay. And now the guy died. So here's the question. Do we say he died as a result of that bedridden illness? And therefore what? The makabel gets it? Or do we say the Yarshim are tining that he got better, Ben Tayim? And therefore, the Shchimei Rashtar is a moot point because it didn't say he died as a result of this thing. And they're tining that what? They're tining that it's theirs. Look at the last Taisus. Now that you turn the page, look at the last Taisus on the page. And the Yarshim, they claim, it's like a Chasim and a Seifa in the case in the Gemara. The Yarshim Hayatoyanim, Sha'amad, that he got better. Even though they don't say that, you know, okay, so that's the case. Guys, you hear the case. So again, you have a shtar v'shlemera, it was written, but it doesn't have the key words, and he went to the next world as a result of the sickness. So the possibility exists that what? He got better. And that's the taina of the Yarshim, of the assignment, the taining that what? He got better. If he got better, then what? Then the gift reverts back to him, and therefore he died. We inherit it. And the other guy claims, no, he died as a result of this, and it's mine. That's the needin over here. So Amarava, Hare Meis, Hare Kivroi Mechiach Alav. What do you have in front of you? You have a dead body, and you don't have a dead body. You have a kever. You have a shtar saying he's sick, and you have a kever. So says Rabbah, who keeps it? The makabel keeps it. Says the Rashbam. Anu royim, we see shehu meis ubasa hashtaz linan, and we're going after the here and now. Ve'madnu acheskas misasai, and we'll put in the chazaka of dying. V'yeshlanu loymar shemitoich oisa chayle meis. If he's dead, he must have died as a result of that sickness. V'kona hamakabel matana. It seems that the Rashbam is saying that this person is chazaka being dead. So the haichacha is, how did he die? As a result of being bedridden of that sickness. Says Rabbi, so we go after now. He's dead now. We go after now. And therefore what? The makabel keeps it. Okay. Amalei Abaya, Hashta, Umasvina. Most of the time a sinking ship. Sharuboim la'aved. Most of the sinking ships sink. Noisnim aleim choymei chayim b'choymei mesim. You have over there person. Now, if it's a bas kohen and her husband was a Yisrael, she doesn't need truma because we say he's still alive. If it was a bas Yisrael and it's a kohen, she don't need truma because we say that maybe he's dead. In other words, we play both sides of the fence, but we take in the possibility that the guy's still alive, even though Roiv's ships sink, right? Goes just as the Titanic. Rove ships sink, right? They do. Now, so umasvina shrubalov and noisnim aleim choymei chayim b'choymei mesim linian truma, as I just said. Choylin sharoiv choylin l'chayim, most choylin alachayim, like kol shekain, that we should think that he got better. If that's the case, then it should stay by him and by the Yarshim. Stay by the Yarshim. So you have Machlokes. Rabbi says you go after the here and now. Here and now is Mashmi is dead. Baya says you go after what? It's Cheskas Chaim. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna, Bereder of Yeshua, Keman Osla Hashmaitza, Ar Sugya, the Rabba. Who does he go like? Reb Nassin, like Reb Nassin. And this is the same case as our Mishnah. We're going to meet Reb Nassin, okay? So in other words, the Machlokes between Rabba and Abaya, guys, we're going to see as the Machlokes B'Shainim. Machlokes Rabba and Abaya, we're going to see as the Machlokes B'Shainim. Not B'Shainim, Tanoim. Machlokes Tanoim. Good? Now, this is the same case as our Mishnah. What's the case of the Mishnah, right? We don't know. They're claiming that he got better. He's claiming he was a Shchimera and he gets it back. The other person says you were bari. That's the case. So now, mi moitzi miyad mi. Who gets it? In other words, our Mishnah, guys, who gets it? Who gets it? Who gets it? So, mi moitzi mi who moitzi mi yadehem b'lei raya, v'ain moitzi mi yadai ela b'raya. So this is what lav dafka. This is you go after the muchsik over here. Rabbi Yaakov. So Rabbi Yaakov says what? You go after the muchsik. This would be what? This would be Abaya. Rabbi Nassan Amanai. Or no. Rabbi Nassan Aimer in Bari who? Allah lehevi raya. If he's a Bari, he has to bring a raya. Shahayishrim meira. Right? Because we go after now. Im shrim meira who? Alayim lehevi raya shebari haya. If it's a shchimera, then the other people have to bring a raya that is a bari. In other words, we go after the hashta. We go after the hashta. So Rabba, who says we go after the here and now, is Reb Nassin. Whatever the here and now is, that's what we go after. Now the Gemara just makes it tushtel. Outside, guys, just outside. We've touched upon this on a few occasions. When you have a suffix tumah, person suffix, whether he touched something or suffix if he touched a grave or something, right? It depends where that suffix took place. We learn out from Saita, suffix tumah b'shus hayachid, sveika is tameh. Just like the Saita is a suffix whether she did or she didn't, and the Torah calls her tameh, nitma. The Torah calls her tameh. And where does the act of a Saita take place? In a private domain, right? So therefore, suffix tumah b'shus hayachid, sveika is tameh. What about b'shus harabim? Sveika is tahar. What does it feel now in the winter time? That's when they would go ahead and plant. They plant before the winter, and therefore during the winter, people would not be allowed to walk in other people's fields. In the summer, people would walk in other people's fields. Okay, with that in mind. Now, Amar Rebbe Laza ulituma kemachloikis. The same machlokes we have between Reb Nassin and Reb Yaakov regarding whether you go after the hashta or you have to go after the chazaka. That's the machlokes by tuma. Did none. Bika biyamos hachama, a bika, that's an open valley. It's in the yamos hachama in the summer. Rishus hayachid l'Shabbos. It's considered Rishus hayachid l'Shabbos. It's gated, guys. It's gated. So the Inyan being a domain, the Inyan haitzah, right? It's Rishus hayachid. However, Rishus harabim l'tuma. When people walk in there, it's in the summer. If the plant you harbor, you can walk in there. So therefore, it's a Rishus harabim l'Inyan tuma. That suffix toma will be tahar. However, b'mosik geshamim in the winter, rishus hayachid. In the winter, it's a rishus hayachid, right? Right? Yeah, lekanu. In the winter, it's a rishus hayachid lekanu. Whether it's Shabbos or toma, it's considered what a rishus hayachid. Okay, so let's see the Rashbam, guys. Kemachloikis. Ki heichi the nechu Rav Yaakov Rav Nassim matana stam. He has lean in basa hashta. Basa cheskas nechasim. Hachinami, if ligu gabe tuma, shemba adam lebezdin, v'nishal al shenichnas lebika. If someone comes to Bezdin and they ask him, did you go enter this valley? Ve'en yedua matay nichnas. He doesn't know when. Ibi mosachama v'tahar, ibi mosachashama v'tamei. Chazinon. Im ata, if now, kishenishal yomosachama hein. If now when you're asking the hashta, taharhu. That's lina basa hashta. L'Reb Nasin. Then yomosachashamim hu. However, if he's asking in the winter, then tamei. The basa hashta is linan. L'Reb Yaakov, the osel basa chazaka. So therefore, that the same machlokes that we have over here, whether you go after the chazaka or if you go after the hashta, is the machlokes. So whenever you ask the shaila, if you ask it in the winter, it's a rishus hayachid. You ask in the summer, it's a rishus harabim. Okay, and Amarava says Rava loishanu that what that bika is b'mosachama is considered rishus harabim and yimosach geshamim is rishus hayachid. That you didn't have a Yemosek Geshamim. So in the summer, it's considered Rishus Harabim. Aval Avru Lov Yemosek Geshamim, then Rishus Hayachil Lakan Lakan. If it passed by in this Bika, Yemosek Geshamim from the time he fenced it in, right? Then it doesn't lose the shame of Rishus Hayachil, guys. If a winter passed, that B'Yemosek Chama would be that you didn't gate it from before. But if you gated it from before and that winter passed, then it's considered a Rishus Hayachid even in the summer, L'Inyan Tuma and L'Inyan Shabbos.